Here it goes live. Hello and welcome. We are here podcasting. We're going to be doing John 18, but I'm just checking real quick to make sure everything sounds the way it needs to sound.
We're doing some stuff, I don't know what they are, but
Hello.
we're finding easier ways to record, but we want to make sure it records. So you're part of this with us, and we appreciate you joining us. And just get comfortable.
Okay.
We're
We're good.
We're good.
Yep, we are a little louder.
Thank you.
So if you need to turn us down a little, do that. But I'd rather have you turn us down a little
Oh, yeah.
than have to crank us. So John 18, we're coming out of Jesus' prayer, and immediately it's almost like when he opens his eyes,
It's like, boom.
boom, people are here to get you. So,
He held up really well knowing all this was about to happen. I mean,
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, you would think if you knew people were on their way to arrest you,
For all kind of nefarious reasons.
your prayer may look a little different. Though we do have the prayer that's recorded in other places where he did ask this cup to be passed from me.
Yes, yes.
And we're going to get a quick, basically, he prayed in the garden.
Mm.
We're going to miss that. So, John 18, the arrest and betrayal, which Jesus already knew and predicted. So.
Oh, yeah.
When Jesus had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So this is the spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like the local coffee shop.
Yeah, yeah. People need spots.
Yeah. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with...
This is a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, this is like you would think they were like insurrectionists, which is what they accuse them of essentially. Went there with lanterns and torches and weapons, as if Jesus had ever
Serious
harmed.
stuff. I know. It's like,
Peter, you know.
yeah. Well, there could be. I just thought of this. You know, he did work miracles. You know, maybe there's a little edginess there. I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna fight miracles with weapons.
Good luck with that.
All right. It's like fighting wizards with swords, you know. Then Jesus, off track. Then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, "Whom do you seek?" He wants them to own up to this.
Yeah, on this thing.
They answered him, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus said to them, "I am he." So there's Tom number one. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Jesus said to them, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. So he asked them again, "Whom do you seek?" And they said, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he." So John records 3 I am he's, which is interesting. It's going to sort of correlate with Peter's 3 rejections.
Yeah, he's not he, or I'm not one of his. Yeah.
So if you seek me, let these men go.
Yeah.
This entire theme of Jesus rescuing others through his own suffering
Yeah, you got the problem with me. Deal with me.
is constant. This was to fulfill the word that he had spoken, "Of those whom you gave me," who he just prayed for, by the way, though he knew, even in the prayer, son of perdition, "I have not lost one."
One thing here, they're obviously edgy.
Yeah.
They're obviously edgy, and it's kind of comical. They just start falling all over each other when they go, oh, it's a surreal scene.
Well, it's almost like, you know, you kind of, you get a mob together, you kind of get there, and you're told one thing, you're going to go get it, and the guy's nice to you.
Here's this nice guy out there saying, "Hey, leave these folks
He's
alone."
like, "Who do you seek? You
You're looking
know,
for
we're
me."
here to give you, this is nothing that we signed up for." It's kind of like when the soldiers go to arrest Jesus at one time, they come back empty-handed.
Nobody's ever spoken like this.
He was a good guy.
Yeah, come
He
on.
seemed like a godly man. And Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it, struck the high priest's servant, cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus.
Quite the swordsman, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or not?
Or, you know, hopefully he was going to maim him, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, get his attention.
So maybe he was giving him a haircut. So Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword into its sheath. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father has given me?" And all joking aside, that's really the point of all this.
It is. Shall I ask to avoid it? Well, no, that's why I came. He's all kind of language associated with this. This has to happen.
Yeah.
And he knew it from day one.
Well,
This
before the
has to
foundation
happen.
of the world.
This had to happen.
This is a plan. This is the will of the Father. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, all those kinds of stuff.
I'm one of these people, you may not, I will see, who believes because human beings are tied into it, and you got to have seed of woman and all that kind of stuff, because people say, could God have chosen another plan? I don't think another plan would have worked. I think this is a plan that involves God and man together, and the cross and all death, and that needs to happen.
I am 100% in belief of that. Because if there was another plan,
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is the Old Testament shows us that any other plan that doesn't involve
Yeah.
divine intervention
The Genesis 15 thing of God
Yeah.
walking through there by himself.
in that covenant, since he made it, has to be kept. And a penalty has to be paid.
And he's got to pay it.
And mankind has to pay. How can God and man both pay that penalty? Well, a God-man. And that's what Jesus came
It's
to
like,
be.
Edwin, here's plan A. You can have your son beaten to pieces and crucified, or here's plan B. We won't have to do that. And I'm saying, well, plan A. No, you would have chosen plan B.
It had to be. And how, that's the beauty of it. A lot of times when we talk about, well, why would God create the earth knowing evil would come into the world? He also created the world knowing evil would come in the world. The one that he would have to send his own son into to
Yes.
suffer the
He
worst
knows all
of
kind
it.
of things.
I mean,
You know what? I don't understand that, but that's okay.
but he did it knowing he would have to go through it in
No,
mind as well.
he's committing himself to
Yeah.
things we couldn't begin to understand.
So the band of soldiers and their captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him. First, as if he was going to try to break away. First,
yeah.
they led him to Annas, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas,
The power behind the high priesthood.
who was the high priest that year. It was Caiaphas who had advised the Jews that it would be expedient that one man should die for the people. And I love that because it's like a prophet without being a prophet.
Without realizing it, you nailed it.
Yes, one man will die for the nation, for the sins of the
And
nation.
even for you, Caiaphas.
Yeah. Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. Since that disciple was known to the high priest, he entered with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter stood outside at the door.
Bless his heart.
So the other disciple, who was known to the high priest, went out and spoke to the servant girl who kept watch at the door and brought Peter in. The servant girl at the door, so this isn't some random girl. A lot of times when you see this depiction, this is someone who the high priest has handpicked to go, hey, go get Peter.
Yeah, she's a receptionist sort of like person.
Yeah. And brought Peter in. The servant girl stood at the door, said to Peter, hey, you also are not one of this man's disciples, are you? He said, I am not. And I just like the different, I am he, Peter, I am not.
I'm not.
And ultimately, discipleship is about owning up to the fact that I am
Jesus
one of his.
owns it. You're going to crucify me, but yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Simon Peter, no, not
Yeah.
me.
Which we give Peter some slack,
Yeah, he gets there. We're all works in progress. I think a lot of that conversation we'll get to later is Jesus saying, okay, we had this conversation before and you wouldn't own up to where you are. Now we know where you are, so let's move forward.
Let's own up, yeah. Now the servants and the officers had made a charcoal fire because it was cold, and they were standing and warming themselves. Peter also was with them, standing and warming himself. So while Jesus is about to be questioned and go through all that he's about to go through, Peter's out warming himself and denying.
A little timid about even being in there.
Yeah. All right. That's where you pick up.
Oh, okay. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Spoken openly to the world. I always taught in the synagogues and in the temple where the Jews come together, and I spoke nothing in secret. Why do you question me? Question those you have heard what I spoke to them. They know what I said. And I don't think he's being smart alecky. I think he's just being truthful. Look, let's stop playing this game. You know exactly what I was teaching, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah. So tell us who you really. I've been telling
Well,
you.
where you been?
Yeah.
That's why they get mad at me. Makes yourself equal with God.
And it's not like people have not been uttering
No.
and repeating. Even people who Jesus
send
said,
and talk.
hey, keep this to yourself. They're going out.
They're
They
going
can't
to
keep it
tell
to
people,
themselves.
and then there's the hosannas, and there's this and that. And if they're quiet, the stones will speak. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
But people get weird when they get into nefarious ways. When he had said this, one of the officers standing nearby struck Jesus. This probably isn't a little love tap or anything either, saying, "Is that the way you answer the high priest?" Jesus answered to him, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify of the wrong. But if rightly, why do you strike me?" So he's got amazing composure here.
I say, you're hitting me across the face like that.
I may not react
openly.
quite as well.
I'm
The hockey player in you might
yeah.
come out and throw the gloves off.
It's not the right way to act.
No. So Annas said to him, sent him bound to Caiaphas. He wasn't going anywhere, and his father-in-law, who's the power behind this in many cases, he had been the high priest, but in politics and all. So off he goes, yet another situation while this is happening. Now Simon Peter was standing and warming himself. So they said to him, "You're not also one of his disciples, are you?" Which, when the NASB words it that way, it's like, yeah, you're one of them, aren't you? He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the slaves of the high priest, being a relative of the one whose ear Jesus had cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?"
That's probably an accusation.
Well, yeah, that's probably burned in his memory. Peter then denied it again, and immediately a rooster crowed. Jesus had said, we put all the accounts together, you're going to deny me 3 times, the rooster's going to crow 3 times. But John kind of shorthands it. But nevertheless, what he said he wouldn't do, he does.
He does.
Then,
I'd die before I did that.
yeah. And you know, if he'd been able to keep his sword, he might have. But
Yeah.
Jesus said, okay, let's do it my way. Put the sword down. He didn't want to do it Jesus' way.
You ever like have your steam ruined?
Oh yeah, I know. It's like,
I'm done
yeah,
for.
yeah. I got all over a Blue Cross Blue Shield representative on the phone one time who way back when my daughter was a young girl was wanting to deny the claim, and she paused and she said, "Sir, this wasn't my decision. I felt about that big." Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas into to the Praetorium, which is the area where the Roman folks are. And it was early, and they themselves did not enter into it because they're such religious people. They don't want to touch Roman stone,
Pious.
man, how religious they are, so that they would not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. This just shows what happens when people get a hold of religion and how it misses the point so far. Therefore, Pilate went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" They answered and said to him, "If this man were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him to you." So they're getting a little snarky here.
Duh.
Come on, man. So Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." Because he's seeing this as a Jewish matter, and really rightfully so. The Jews said to him, "We are not permitted to put anyone to death, to fulfill the word of Jesus which was spoken, signifying by what kind of death he was about to die." Therefore, Pilate entered again into the Praetorium and summoned Jesus and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Are you saying this on your own initiative, or did others tell you about me?" He's got such a composure here, cutting to the chase.
Well, I think, practically, there is that question. I did a camp talk last week, and these teenage kids, and I kind of, this principle is very prevalent in the church. A lot of people claim religion because of somebody else's faith. Are you?
Yeah, the mamas, the
and I know
daddies.
this is not what's being talked about here,
it's a
but just
principle here.
practically, eventually everyone's got to own up to Jesus as king, not because someone has told you, but because you believe it.
It's like Simon Peter. "No, it's not me." "Yes, it is."
Yeah.
And then later, as we'll talk about later, he owns it up and he gets crucified. Pilate answered, "I'm not a Jew, am I?" So we got this going back and forth, kind of interesting exchanges here. "Your own nation and the chief priests delivered you to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I would not be handed over to the Jews." Simon Peter would have been able to keep his sword, and we'd have probably all just whacked it out there. "But as it is, my kingdom is not of this realm." In other words, Pilate, representing Rome, you don't have anything to worry about in that realm.
Yeah, and I think, this to me...
This is what, he's also called an insurrectionist.
Yeah.
Barabbas is what they accuse Jesus of being that he's not, and they want to get a guy who is that to let him free.
I love how judiciously, though, Jesus has just been cleared guiltless
Yes.
by Pilate.
Yes, Rome has said, "I don't find anything wrong with him."
And yet they're going to kill the guiltless, which is Isaiah. Spotless Lamb of God.
Yeah, there's a tradition, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it's cool, that Barabbas, his name was Jesus Barabbas, And in a sense, he's asking, which Jesus do you want? And I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a cool story anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a really awesome coinkydink, as we
Yeah,
used to say.
yeah,
Coinkydink.
yeah.
Anyway, well, there's John 18. We're revving up, getting to
Business is picking up.
the day in which the world changed forever.
No, you're right. You're right. It can never be the same.
No, it can't be, and it ought not be if
No.
Christians are being what we ought to be.
No, if we don't own it,
Yeah,
it's the greatest waste that could ever be.
yeah. So we love you.
Yes, we do.
Please always remember to like, care, comment, share.
No,
God.
love.
Love,
He's been away.
care, comment, share. Because that love, the love button,
Facebook gets all thrown off,
the
and
algorithm.
start letting more people see it.
Yeah. So, and if you're watching this and someone has shown this to you, or you've got personal questions, maybe you don't want to post it publicly. Send